Welcome to MELfeed.video. We are commencing a live web stream service via youtube.com from Echuca, Australia. We currently conduct these streams on Monday evenings, with other times to be added as more opportunities arise. Please visit our website MELfeed.video for further information. This web video project presents old and new community TV programs. Please enjoy your stay with MELfeed.video.
Hello and welcome to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guest today is Father Samir Haddad, who was on last week as well, and he's showing us a video of what's been happening in Syria. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Can you please tell us about the video that you're going to be showing us?
Yeah,
we showed it last week.
Yeah, for the people don't see it last week, they can access the website syriancharity.org.au and they can see the video. The video is about kids in Syria, and we try to show a little bit of the suffer of the people. Before this video take around 2 months, and from all this picture we don't want to hurt anybody when they see like the hard picture. We take everything and we try to make little bit to show a little bit what is the suffer there, and it's around 3.5 minutes video. It's made by the way, a Muslim guy. When he see me between all this music and picture, and I need help that someone put it as video, and he said, I will do it.
Wow.
And he's not from Syria. He's not from the same religion. He's Muslims. And I say to myself, this is Australia. And this is how we can continue in Australia. Otherwise, God speaks not. But if we not live together in this way and helping each other, and he's still helping me. He come back and ask me, do you need any other help? And we put all these picture and numbers. And sometimes you can read in screen the number, but maybe you will turn after 2 minutes and you will do the same what you done before. But if you reflect a little bit about the number, maybe you will stop the whole day talk about one numbers. Can you imagine that 5.5 million children need humanitarian assistance? Around 56% of all the children in Syria need help. This is a big number. Can you imagine that 1.2 million is children refugee from Syria? This is the biggest crisis in the world. And what we show in the video a little bit what's going on with some children.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's a very powerful film, and it is very upsetting, but it's also, I guess it's necessary for people to see, because all this has just started, this war and this fight, it's all started by money and greed. It's so unnecessary. There's enough problems, just naturally in the world as it is, that things happen, accidents happen and stuff, but to actually bring something on like this is a real tragedy.
I remember very well when we launched the video with Polytechnique and MIT before in Preston. Too many people, they want to get out and not watch it because it's hard. But I say to them, stay and face your fear, that maybe you fear that this will happen to you or to your children, but in the end of the day we should watch it, and this is the reality.
All right, we'll go and let's show our viewers a video now.
Thank you.
شو عم تعملوا عمو؟
نقى خبز. العالم بطرانة عم تكب الخبز هون. لك قديش طلعنا واستعفي بالأرض. ودول العالم بتعطي حدا بتكبر.
منين الخبز عم يجي؟
مساعدات فاتت للناس.
وانتم ما استلمتوا شيء؟
لا، لو استلمنا شيء في عنا أكيد ما كنا يجينا لهون ناخذ وناكل.
Two out of 3 toddler pool drownings are caused by open or faulty pool gates. Water, it's only safe while you're watching. Keep watch.
William Terrell was abducted from his nana's home on the New South Wales mid-north coast on the 12th of September 2014. And somebody knows who did it. Do you? There is a $1 million reward for information that leads police to William. That's 1 million reasons to make the call. Contact Crime Stoppers now. 1800 333 000. Make the call.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guest is Father Samir Haddad, who made this video, Tears of Pain, and he's going to talk a little bit about that. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the video in a bit more detail now and how you went about making the video?
Yeah, originally it was a girl in Syria, 10 years old. She lost her 2 legs, and we helped her from the church in Victoria to walk again. And the first time she walked, she called me, and I was, every day by phone. She was in Syria and she get to Lebanon. And by the way, I would like to thank Loreen because she opened my eyes about something in Australia. I cannot see it or feel it. And yeah, in way or other, she let me feel, she let me live my spirituality in different ways. Can you imagine 10 years old, a girl, she cannot walk, and she's very smart. She play piano, she dance ballet, and now, thanks God, she walk, and she done the first communion around 12 months now. But anyway,
and she's living here now?
No, she's in Europe now.
Okay.
She came back from Lebanon to Europe. But in the end of the day, it was the question that if you see any one of your children and you imagine the situation, what your feeling will be. If you listen to one of these children, what your feeling will be. And this is what I live and go through. I make this video for all my friends in Australia, the people asking me how we can help and what is the situation. And I need through this video just to show a little bit, 3 minutes of some picture come from the UN, and some numbers come from the UN website.
The statistics came from the UN. Yeah.
And also some picture come from Syria. And we look at the videos like in YouTube, because this YouTube's video is taken from very dangerous area. And it was our role, how we can put the message in a nice way, direct to the point, to the Australian society. And thanks God that too many people see this video. A lady called me one day and said, if any one of these children without parents, we can, I can adopt it.
Yes, yes.
And this is, this is Australia. Yeah. God bless Australia.
Yeah, someone said that to me as well.
Yeah.
And I just had seen the video and I went to Mass and I saw a lady and she said, if they need a parent, I would love to adopt one of the children. She hasn't even seen the video yet herself. Yeah. Just from my expression of the video to her.
Yeah, and this is the way we can help.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to say, this is a $10. I done what I should do. I will sleep
in peace.
In peace. But this is not the reason behind the Australian Syrian Charity. And the main purpose of the Australian Syrian Charity, not like money focus, but when as we pray last week, and as I call also again today to be a network of praying, network to see how we can, as Australians, live together and support each other. I would like to thank all the Australians, all the families, all the leaders, all the people they call saying, what we gonna do? And it was my dream to make this video, to make this awareness, and it's not anymore my dream, it's our dream.
Yeah. And what made you start the video with the little boys picking up the bread from the ground? What was that? Was the initiation of the video?
Because we have in Australia everything, and we complain about everything. I don't know why the person or the human, whatever you got, you need more.
Yeah.
And never you're satisfied. And we put these two girls just between the rocks, take the small bread that someone throw it, and these people, they get aid from someone, and even these people, they throw this bread, maybe it's not second hand, this bread maybe the third hand, and they are happy. And notice in the video, not too many children cry. Just in the middle of the video, someone called, I need my brother. Where is my brother? Because the complete video of this boy saying, I need my brother, they see his brother killed around him. I don't want to put the whole things in the video, but if you, we make anyway 7 minutes about this video, but the situation behind putting all together, just to say, before you sleep, say, I pray, thanks God that I have parents, I have families, I have someone caring about me, and don't be just complain about everything. Maybe you open your fridge and you think that everyone has food. Maybe you sleep in your bed or in your room, and maybe you think that every ladies or every children has the same, but it's not. We have families, they eat once a day. We have families living in the camps or in the caravans.
Yeah, it's pretty devastating, but it is important for us all to realise, you know, to be grateful for what we do have, and really, like you say, stop complaining about things, you know. Love instead of complaining, you know. Make the world a better place rather than whinging about it.
But why you think that the people always complain? Because they don't have really something inside of them. They are, let them move towards the goodness.
Okay. We'll talk about exactly that when we get back. You're watching NAT Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
If you choose to drink then drive,
you could ruin lives.
Someone else's,
your family's,
or your own.
Choose not to instead.
The right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
It's always been my dream to represent Australia in the Olympics. Epilepsy affects nearly 250,000 Australians. Like me, most people have their seizures controlled with medication. Even today, people with epilepsy face incredible discrimination, but this prejudice is just another obstacle we can overcome. We're just as capable as anyone else, and often we have to be stronger. I promise I'll do my best for Australia. Will you do your best for me?
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the plunge. Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 655 06.
1300 655 06.
It could change your life.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. We're here with Father Sami Haddad, who has made a video on what is happening in Syria with the children there. Welcome back to the program, Father.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us, also we just finished talking before, you said we finished on something like people complain and they really have, they've got, talk about what you were going to say.
Yeah, just I would like all the people watching us today, they stop and ask why I complain. I complain about my wife, about my husband, about my kids, about my job, what else? But in the end of the day, you see all of this. It's about you searching, satisfied in way or other somewhere. But in the end of the day, if you don't have, a goal, a spiritual goal, because all this is maybe sometimes materials. Even sometimes the love between the husband and wife become like just material things rather than spiritual things. And every time I was with the producer of this video, he want to for me to see the changes, if it's good or not. And day after day when I watch this video, and I stop think. We are in this blessed country. We are supported in too many different ways. Not just me, even my kids, even the people around me. And I should be thankful. And if I have inside of me to do something, like when we done the work for this girl in Syria, and now when we are moving to do something, I feel the smile in the faces. That I'm a part of this good action or good movement. And later on, too many refugees family, they will come to Victoria or to Australia. And the question should be first to the churches, what we can do. And if we compare between what the church done and the government done, we cannot compare. And end of the day, what the church should done the issues first hand as welfare. Now maybe the government do it. But in the end of the day, this was the original role of the church. And by the way, I would like to thank all the people, like especially from the Catholic Care or from bishops or priests. They call me, they say, what we're gonna do? They call our groups working with us, what we gonna do? And this big question to the church in Australia, what we gonna do now? Or we can show that we are brothers and sisters, and if you cry, I will feel with you. If you're happy, I will be with you. Or we should maybe call it different things. Anyway, it's too many ways to help, especially with the new arrivals families. I would like to thank all the schools, especially the Catholic school. They opened the door, said maybe we will let them in our schools for 4 years without any charge. I would like to thank every hand, say we would like to stretch our hand to your hand to do something, and maybe come back to the complaint stuff. Maybe this way I can feel that I'm doing something to in the right time for right people, and feel that I'm part of this goodness.
Part of the help rather than, yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. And what can Australian families do to support How can they help some families if they want to do something?
You know that the government announced about the 12,000 visas that they will bring people here from. The first announcement was from camps, and they said focusing to the Syrian and Iraqis. Until now, we don't know how the percentage is between Christian or non-Christian, but at the end of the day, we need everyone to come to this country that help the Australians and the authorities to done what it's better for the country. Whoever, Christian or not Christian, we would like to be part of this good things in Australia and helping the harmony to be better.
Yeah,
between the religion, and maybe a family can say, I will adopt a child, or maybe a family say, I will sponsor a family.
What if someone does want to adopt a child? How would they go about it?
We should see really where is these children and how the visa staff can do. And by the way, a doctor called me a few days ago. He said, I'm a doctor in Australia, and how I can help the Syrian doctors to come here, and I say to him, thank you. Never I thought about this. He said, I'm with my friend, doctors in Victoria. He's near to this area here, and he said, how I can help. I put all my quality, and I would like to thank Dr. William for that. But because this is what really brilliant in Australia, and God bless Australia and bless all these efforts. He called, he bring the phone and said, okay, how I can help, and maybe hand in hand we can do miracles.
It's true. I mean, all we have to do is like be another Jesus in the world to each other.
Yeah.
See Jesus in each other, love Jesus in each other, and things will flow everywhere. If everyone took that on board, see and love Jesus in each other, that's the only thing in your mind. Imagine how many the harmony would be everywhere in the entire world.
And maybe this is we bring gospel to our world again and again, and spread the good news. We have too many families already arrived, and we are waiting for more to come. And we open the door, the gate of the church's door, to see how we can live and minimize the suffer and dilemmas for them.
Beautiful, and good on you for everything you're doing as well. We've come to an end for the program. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
I would like to thank you and thank David that you are behind all of this to help us first for the voice to be spread, and also to
and Peter Byrne, who told me about it. Otherwise I wouldn't have known about it. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
You've been watching NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest was Father Samir Haddad. I hope you enjoyed the program. See you again soon.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Hello and welcome to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Meg Campbell, who is a personal trainer and a wellness coach, and she's also co-authored the book, The Personal Wellness Diary. Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mirella. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you here. Can you tell us about how you became a personal trainer. How long have you been a personal trainer?
I've been in the health and wellness industry about 20 years now, Mirella. I started out doing my applied science degree in human movement and went on to do my teaching degree, Bachelor of Education in Phys Ed, and then I opened my own business, personal training business.
Oh, beautiful. And what attracted you to work in the personal training field?
Well, I've always had a fascination with the human body and the mind, and I think that's what led me into my human movement degree. I've always loved being very active, and I guess after doing the human movement degree and working in gyms, it sort of followed on from that to become a specialist PT.
That's beautiful. And you also did a lot of movement when you were younger. You were saying off camera that you did a lot of ballet and dancing.
I did. I danced from the age of 3 to about 17.
Wow.
And I've always played sport at a really high level and enjoyed being very active. So.
And you're passionate about the field you're in now?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think having done it for 20 years, if I wasn't, I'd certainly wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But I certainly love it. Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't last that long. You were saying as well off camera, they
I think
short life.
I actually think the shelf life now is about 15 months. Someone was telling me the other day, and I think that's to do with burnout because it is a physically and mentally demanding career, and people often get into it being enticed by hourly rate or the freedom of being able to come and go and don't realise that it is quite a demanding job. And also the hours, some people are working first thing in the mornings, in the evenings. I'm fortunate now after the amount of time that I've done it that a lot of my work's done in the daytime, so which helps with my family.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about this book you've co-authored, Personal Wellness Diary.
Sure. The Wellness Diary, it was written quite a while ago now, but I was in a role with another trainer, and we developed a business, pre and postnatal wellness business, and we found there was a lot of information out there and a lot of tracking journals and things that focus wholly and solely on nutrition or on exercise alone, and my approach had always been very holistic, so I look at how people are functioning under stress, whether they're sleeping well, what their emotional well-being's like, and there was nothing that allowed anyone to journal all of those aspects of their health. So we decided to put together something that was a bit more comprehensive, a bit more holistic.
Okay, and so can you tell us a little bit about the necessity of sleeping and that part of our
Absolutely.
lifestyle?
I think sleep is one of the most underrated aspects of health. We all know you should get about 8 hours a night, but it's really important to be getting really deep sleep, restorative sleep. It's when we rest and repair basically, and we restore ourselves. So it's vital for both our physical health and our emotional health. And mental well-being. And the issue these days is that people take devices to bed with them, and then they're quite stimulated right before they go to sleep, and therefore they're never getting into that restorative sleep.
I mean, like they're taking their mobile phones or they're watching
TV. Or their iPad or watching TV, and that's stimulating the brain, and they don't get into that deep restorative sleep, which creates a stress environment in the body. And
so the ideal way to sleep is just not to watch TV before you go to bed?
Ideally a couple of hours before, and also leaving your mealtime a couple of hours before, so that when you're into bed the body can just literally restore. It doesn't have to be spending a lot of time winding down, and some people have lovely evening rituals. It's not always people are not always able to stick to that sort of ritual, but a nice ritual would be to have your meal, have a herbal tea, perhaps get in a nice relaxing bath, read a little bit of a book, and then take that time to just wind down with some breath work.
What happens if you've got children?
Exactly.
We'll keep calling you.
Yeah, that's right. I'm very familiar with that, Mirella. As I said, it's not always possible. It's ideal. But it's nice to get the children into a bit of a bedtime routine too.
Absolutely, yeah.
And my children, we actually do a little bit of a routine that we have our bath or our shower, and then we do meditation before bed, and that sort of gets them into that wind down state and far more relaxed state.
Yeah,
and,
we've
and
started
most of the time it works. Other times they're in, up and coming into our room, and we're like any other household, but we do try and put things in place that reiterate that nice restful sleep.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Well, it's good at least to try. And then
Absolutely.
I notice when I do it too with my child that we that she gets a lot calmer as well. So
for sure.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good for everyone, Morel.
It's good for everyone. I noticed the whole household's calmer too.
Yes, absolutely.
We do like the rosary tape. We've got the rosary CD, and it's just beautiful and restful, and there's singing, and and she just goes off to slumberland. Yeah. And even my husband, who's not a Catholic or anything, but he can still hear it, and he's sort of it's part of it, so it's all good. Tell us a little bit about the book. What are other details about this book? Did it take long to write, or how did you form?
It took us probably about 9 months from the time of writing. Yeah. Most of the information was just our own intellectual property because we'd both been in the industry a long time. But we really wanted it to be very comprehensive. We really wanted to have all aspects of people's health covered, and people not just focusing on one aspect of their health. It's also great for allied health practitioners to communicate with each other. We have clients who see a massage therapist and might see a dietitian, and they can all communicate together.
Okay. And how can people get hold of it? Is it still available?
It is still available, yes, on my website, megcampbell.com.au.
Oh, beautiful. All right, well, we're going to head off to a break now. You're watching NAT Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
We've all seen this one time or another. We may even have done it ourselves. But inhaling balloon gas is very dangerous and can be fatal. The helium in balloon gas acts as an asphyxiant, and when you inhale, it displaces the oxygen in your lungs. Balloon gas is safe in balloons and when you release it in a well-ventilated area and in a safe manner. So the next time you see some sucker about to inhale balloon gas, or you think it's going to be a laugh, stop and be gas-wise.
If you choose to drive on drugs,
you could ruin lives.
Someone else's, your family's, or your own.
Choose not to instead.
The right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
We reckon one of the most powerful things in the world is this sausage. Because a sausage can do just about anything. It helps people to walk, see and hear, supports families after fire, drought and flood, and even helps plant trees in our community. Our sausages are working to cure cancer, helping farmers in tough times, and connecting people who are new to a community. And at the same time that they're doing all that, they're nurturing the leaders of tomorrow while building friendships that last a lifetime. Yep, these humble sausages are more powerful than you can believe. They're working wonders in our community. And at Lions, so can you. Lions Australia, we serve more than sausages.
Tick, 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 fashion.
Tick, 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 fun.
Tick, 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 food.
Tick, 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 festivals.
All make up 15 fabulous minutes.
In a half-hour special.
Presented to you by Jacqueline and Steve.
Every week. Time's up.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Meg Campbell, who is a personal trainer and wellness coach and has also co-authored the book Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mirella.
Now tell us, how has being a personal trainer affected your life personally?
Look, I think more than anything it's enriched my life. I have worked and had the opportunity to work with wonderful people. I've travelled a lot with my work. I have stayed very focused on my own health and well-being, and it's allowed me to have the freedom to have a family and continue to have a career as a working woman. So
because you can choose your own hours to work to fit in with your family. Can't you?
Yes, I can. So, and I think after the amount of time that I've been doing it, I am fortunate that I do choose to work in times that it's not affecting my family as well. So yeah, it's enriched my life, and that's why I'm still doing it and very passionate about it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
fantastic. I think when you work for yourself, you can organise it to suit yourself, you know?
Yeah, I think you can,
It's
and I
lifestyle.
think it can be a bit of a trap because it's easy to take on too much.
Yeah.
And being your own business, but I
Yeah.
think that when you hit a point where you know you're very balanced and you're authentic to how you're living your life, it can be great, absolutely.
Yeah. Beautiful. And now you're married with 2 children, and how has being a personal trainer helped you run a family as well?
Look, I think that, as I said, you can fall into a trap of taking on too much, which I have done in the past, but not for many years now. I think that it's helped me because I have been able to maintain a really great family, relationships, friendships, and been able to continue my work and not
also
have to
influence
take
the children in a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely, yeah. Both of my children are very active and they have great nutrition, and as I said before, we have little routines and rituals that we do that are all part of and probably stem from my passion with my work as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, at this time of year, many people have made their New Year's resolutions. Gung-ho, so excited. This year I'm going to only eat whatever, certain amount of food or certain type of food. I'm going to exercise this amount, and then come around
now.
Around now. Or, sometime they decide they just can't do it anymore. Any advice for those people who have just fallen off the wagon, so to speak, that they haven't been able to continue what they were trying to set out to do?
Yeah, look, I think New Year's resolutions are quite fascinating because people often feel they need to wait till the new year or wait till a Monday, and it's not the case. You can start any time of the day, any time of the week. Adding some good habits, but people who do set resolutions just need to be really mindful of setting resolutions or habits that are going to be sustainable. I think people set themselves up a bit for failure or even self-sabotage if they're not reaching, if they've decided they'll do a 30-day fast or a 30-day exercise challenge, and then it's not able to be continued on. And the most important thing with my work and what I do with my clients is let's create habits that you're able to stick to and that enrich your life and make you feel amazing on a daily basis, not just for 30 days and then it all goes to pot when you're back at work or...
Well, that's the problem, is they think if they haven't reached it, I'll just eat anything now, or
Absolutely.
I'll just do whatever I want
It's a
now.
really interesting psychology around this, and a lot has been written around this. But I think the important thing is to decide on a bit of a vision, how you want your life to look and feel, and then from that create some shorter term goals, so say 3-month goals, and then from that create weekly goals that allow you to achieve those 3-month goals. And that's the approach I take with my clients. We break it down, and the weekly tasks can be quite small because they're heading towards achieving the 3-month goal, which heads towards your vision. And I think it really, the issue is when people decide I'm going to do this, and it's usually very restrictive or depriving, and they go the opposite way because it's not sustainable. So small steps, I guess, is my advice, and realistic goals.
Yeah, I remember I flew to Cairns once, and I was going to go to this is the first time I'd heard about like raw food farm.
Yes.
And I was so excited about it. And then when I had arrived, I got off the plane, I got to the place where we had to sort of sign the papers. I looked across the road before I went in there, and there was a cake shop across the road, and I thought, should I just have one last
cooked food? It's very interesting how that works.
Yeah, but I didn't do it. But,
no.
And I told the person at the place that I was going to do that, and he said, actually, should I do it now? And he goes, no, we start now. Like, he was so strict.
Yes.
And
I think that can also be an issue, that really strict, restrictive, depriving way of being. And I think that if we're a bit more realistic and we choose goals that are going to nourish us and nurture us and not just focus on the aesthetics but focus on how we're actually going to feel, that's a really good starting point, because when you feel good, you do the right thing generally.
Speaking about feeling good when you do the right thing, what sort of diet and fitness regime do you follow?
Look, to be honest with you, I do practice what I preach. I have really good nutrition. I start my day really well with my own little ritual, my own morning ritual, and I eat mainly a plant-based diet because it makes me feel good. And that's not to say you shouldn't eat meat or you shouldn't do this or that. It's just what works for me. And my fitness regime, look, it's changed a lot over the years. I used to do a lot of competitive sport and a lot of exercise. I now primarily do yoga and I run, which I love, and paddleboard and run around with my children and dance in the lounge room and whatever I feel like on whatever given day it is. So I just am active every day, and I eat really well and try to do everything that I suggest that other people do.
So you start the day with like lemon, what were we saying before off camera, lemon and water?
Lemon water is how I always start. So I wake up and I have my lemon water, and that just gets my digestive system flowing, ready to work for the day. And then I'll have a beautiful smoothie to follow that and whatever I'm having for breakfast. And then I eat when I feel like it, and I try to eat in a really relaxed manner.
Beautiful. That's good, especially if it's plant-based. I mean, that's where all the natural nutrients are, obviously, isn't it? Just through the plants.
Absolutely.
Fruits and veggies.
Gifts from the earth.
Exactly. Well, we have to go to a break now.
Sure.
You're watching NAT Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
Man to man, it's time to stop.
Stop the tragic waste of life and the destruction of families, including your own.
Stop blaming drugs and alcohol and believing that walking away makes you weak.
Stop thinking you're a hero and wasting your life behind bars, wishing you could take that one moment back.
Stop the coward's punch.
So how have things been going?
When a young person is diagnosed with cancer, it affects their family, their friends, their entire world. Red Kite supports young people with cancer and those around them in real ways.
Yeah, hi, it's Michael. Yeah, I'm at the hospital.
We rely on your generosity to make a positive difference in the lives of thousands of families every year. We can't always make things better, but with your help, we can lighten the load.
What I love about Australia is Adelaide Central Market. It's where I grew up, hanging out with Mum and great Auntie Kim. I see a lot of migrants buying ingredients that they need to cook dishes that remind them of their culture. And I think that's why food is such a powerful thing when it comes to people understanding each other. On Australia Day, I'm going to come to the market, buy some beautiful produce, take it home, crank out the pizza oven and have a little pool party with my mates.
Get together on Australia Day. Go to australiaday.org.au to find out how.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Meg Campbell, who's a personal trainer and wellness coach and has also co-authored the book Personal Wellness Diary. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Mirella.
Now, can you tell us, nowadays, do you have to be vigilant and watch yourself with your diet and your exercise program, or does it come naturally?
Look, it comes naturally, yes, to be perfectly honest. I know what makes me feel good and I try and maintain that. It's not a hassle at all for me. very rarely do I lack motivation with keeping on track.
And was there a point where you had to be vigilant in your life, like where you thought,
I
okay,
think probably
I
had to be most vigilant when I was working really hard,
Yeah.
so working very long hours. I certainly still maintained my health and fitness, but I would put myself on the back burner a bit more, and now I'm really focused on putting my own oxygen mask on first and looking after myself so that I'm able to function at a level that I need to with my family and my friends and my clients.
That's beautiful. And what goals now do you have for the future? What sort of things are you looking
For the
forward to?
future, I think I really want to maintain the balance that I have accomplished finally after all these years of working very hard, and just continue to love what I do. As if I don't love what I do, I'm not going to keep doing it, but I do love it. I'm really interested in being a part of a wellbeing centre, so that's something that is on my vision board, is creating something like that, and also running some retreats, some affordable retreats for people.
Oh,
so
that's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
because a lot of them get quite expensive, but then
They
I
do.
guess, I mean, I used to do a lot of those things, but when you go, the information you get is invaluable. It's like
Absolutely,
it's priceless,
it is.
you know,
and
it
it should
lasts
be
for
accessible
lifetime.
to more
Yeah,
people, and that's what I'd like to be able to bring a little bit more of. And I've done a lot of work within retreats, but I'd like to perhaps create my own.
Yeah. And can you tell us about some success stories of some of the clients you've worked with?
Sure. Specific examples, or
Yeah, we've got.
Okay. Well, probably some of the most specific examples I come up with on the spot. One of my clients, who I was working with for a long time, had a really horrific ski accident and broke his back. This is going back probably 16 years now, and he was told he probably wouldn't walk again. I still see him, and we run, and he rollerblades, and he plays basketball with his teenage son, and he swims, and he's got a whole new perspective on life from that incident, but also from really realising what's important to him. He worked very, very hard and didn't focus on his health and well-being, and now it's a big focus of his, and it's nice to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And several other stories of injury rehab. I've worked a lot with athletes and taken people through Worlds campaigns where they've competed for Australia and been very successful without injury, and hopefully in part to my strength and conditioning work with them. And probably, I think, as an overall, people who just have changed their perspective on their health and well-being and had a more balanced approach to it, and found a love for it, because it's interesting when people first hire a trainer. Sometimes it's because they just don't like to exercise on their own, or are not doing the sorts of things that make them feel good. And when you're a part of getting them to learn to love what they do and find movement that brings them joy, and eat good food, not because it's a restriction thing, but because it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
That's, in my mind, success.
Taking
is
it from
empowering
a
other people to really to feel fantastic. And a lot of the time it is, in our industry, it is all about how people look, and people come to you because they want to look a certain way, but my work is very focused on having them feel a certain way, and then the look just comes. It does come when people are feeling vibrant and well and healthy and fit, and looking good comes along with that, I think.
It comes along naturally, yeah. That's what John Field used to say at the Health Farm. He used to say to people, don't worry about being skinny, because I think everyone wants to go there and be skinny or whatever. And he'd say, just be healthy. Healthy.
Yeah.
Just always say healthy first.
It's so much about how you feel, both physically but also mentally. And then that brings a whole different mindset to how you look, because it does just happen. You start to look a certain way when you're joyful with your movement, and when it's not a restrictive thing. So.
And also with exercise, talk a little bit about exercise, the power of exercise, and how it helps people, not just physically, and physically as well.
Yeah, I think there's the extremes with exercise. So you can be really extreme with it, and that can be quite detrimental. You can not exercise, and that can be quite detrimental. You can be working towards a sport, and that's a different ball game altogether. It can also be emotionally really helpful for people's mental health. So when you exercise, endorphins are released, feel-good hormones, and it has a big impact on your mindset. Aside from the physical benefits, which obviously include your heart health and cholesterol and all those other things that we talk about on a health perspective, on a health level.
You know, it's funny how they say endorphins are released, but at the time it's like no one looks like they're smiling when they're going through it, but then later they're really smiling. You know, it's funny. At the time it's like, what about these endorphins? And you're like going through all this pain. But then you feel on top of the world after you've done it, but it's not during, it comes later.
Yeah, well, for some people it is during. It just depends on your...
How strenuous it is.
Yes, and your mindset to it. I mean, I feel a lot of joy when I run, but I perhaps don't run the way I used to run, and I don't compete anymore, so it's not as demanding. So I probably just get joy from it now. So you probably see me along the beach running and smiling, but I'm perhaps not going at a pace where I'm in pain that I used to do where I'm in pain.
No pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. And with, so you did competitive running?
I've done all sorts of things, Morella, with my sporting background. I've done netball, and I've done athletics, and I've played on the Australian team for ultimate frisbee, which is a team sport, really dynamic team sport. Which was recently recognised by the International Olympic Committee, so we might see it in the Olympics one day. So I played for Australia on many occasions in that sport. That was my big passion, and that involves a lot of running, a lot of sprinting and changing direction. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
We've come to the end of the program. Would you like to come again next week?
I'd love to, thank you.
Great. You've been watching NAT Chat. I'm Morella Rich, and our guest was Meg Campbell. We'll see you again next week.
Every time we buy certified organic, we're making a choice to help our environment and build a healthier community. But it can be hard to know that what we're buying is truly organic. The Australian Certified Organic logo is only given to products after a very rigorous process. So when you see this logo, it means you can trust that there are no genetically modified foods, no animal cruelty, and no harsh synthetic pesticides used. A healthier community is always better for our future. So the next time you shop, look for this logo.
Alleluia. Om Mani Padme Om. Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Kate McMahon, a Religious Society of Friends member. Kate, last program we were speaking about generally what it means to be Quaker. The research I've done indicates that the Society of Friends is involved in a wide range of activities, and I wonder, we might go through those and discuss them at some length. The first one, of course, which comes out quite clearly, is Quakers for Peace. How does that manifest in the Australian context, Quakers for Peace? How does the peace activities?
It's a really important part of our Quaker life to be peaceful. It really comes from the individual to the corporate, really, to the wider community. And we are having a peace and social justice meeting at our local meeting in Toorak once a month, and they take on a number of issues, looking at all sorts of different areas: Indigenous concerns, violence, alternatives to violence programs. I think that we all have some difficulty about the peace testimony too. It comes from the early times of the Quakers, the statement to King Charles II. It goes back. We've had Quakers conscientious objectors. That's really been one of the ways in which Quakers have become quite well known. They were very keen to go in the ambulances and be in the ambulance service and other places, but not to fight at the front line. Now I think with the peace testimony, we're trying to bring peace to a very personal level, and to say we have to start with peace with ourselves, and then we're going to work out into the world. We do have Quaker groups doing all sorts of things. We have peace work going on in Indonesia, I know. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the wider work. We do have United Nations. We do have people there at the United Nations office in Geneva and in New York. And the work that they do, I know, is to try to get people to talk to each other, the opposing groups, to get to know each other. They're into peace and disarmament. They're into refugees and human rights and trade and development. So there's the United Nations arm. That's peace work. We've got the alternatives to violence. Well, that was started by a Quaker in New York, I believe it was. And although it's not solely Quaker now, it's still a lot of Quakers very much involved in that, and they do work in the prisons.
Well, with your local peace and social justice meetings, what sort of things arise from that?
Well, they have a meeting once a month, and they will be all sorts of things. We've got a member in our Eastern Suburbs meeting who works for landmines. She's actually, I think, president of the Australian landmines, getting rid of the landmines. Yeah. So she will usually give a report, and we've tried to support her. There's always Indigenous areas come up. We try to support as much as we can the Aboriginal College, Warrawa at Healesville. We run a vigil in the centre of Melbourne at the post office every Monday. That's been running since 1998 for an hour to bring attention to the public about the injustice suffered to Indigenous people. So they will look at that. They will look at all sorts of other things. Recently they looked at supporting project in Afghanistan for women making duvets for the children. All sorts of things that come up. Things in Indonesia. We have many different things that come up. They will support and work through.
And you don't proselytise, so nobody's walking around with a little sandwich board on saying, I'm a Quaker, in those activities. How does your Quakerism featured? Are people even aware that they're working with a Quaker?
Oh, well, they'll be aware at the vigil because they have a banner up there.
Right.
I'm not really sure whether they're aware or not. Proselytising hasn't been part of things that Quakers do. We're seekers, and if people are seeking and they find us, that's great, but we tend not to proselytise. We do actually, I think, punch above our weight, to put it in a rather colloquial term,
Yes.
because we, are present in lots of places in the world. In peace activities, I know.
Yeah, the numbers are not high, are they? In Australia, it would be, how many would you say in Australia? It's a matter of thousands, isn't it?
Australia Yearly Meeting, which encompasses all the Quakers in Australia, would probably be somewhere around 1,000. But we do have attenders. The Quakers would only number the people who have actually made a commitment to become a member. The attenders are people who come and worship with us and contribute financially and contribute in all other ways and volunteering and whatever. They may not be counted in the official numbers, but we are an ageing community, which is a concern too.
Oh, right. So and without proselytising, of course, it's to attract younger people. It's not that easy, is it?
Well, we do have a gathering once a year called Australia Yearly Meeting, and Quakers from all over Australia gather in a different state every year. We take it in turns. And last year we were really heartened because the number of children had risen, and we had quite a percentage. We've got quite a strong children's group coming on now, but it has been difficult to maintain that.
Well, ageing is about time, and we're out of time this time. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello. I'd like you to put your hand up to the screen and place it on mine. Now, if you drive when you've been taking drugs and you kill someone, this will be as close as you get to your family for a very long time.
Australian women need to kiss more. Watch out for persistent and unusual symptoms, as they could be a sign of ovarian cancer. Know the important signs and symptoms. Kiss. Look out for symptoms like abdominal or back pain, difficulty eating or feeling full quickly, or persistent bloating, or a change in toilet habits. If you're experiencing persistent and unusual symptoms for more than 14 days, see a GP. Make sure you kiss regularly.
Every minute.
Every hour.
Every mother and father.
Every sister and brother.
Every son and every daughter.
Everyone you see.
Everyone you cheer.
Everyone you watch.
And everyone you hear. Everyone you meet.
Everyone you know.
Everyone you love.
Everyone is affected.
Reach out and get connected.
Transports of Distant Delight is a mixed selection of transportation pictures from here and there and almost everywhere, but not quite. Some quirky, some mundane, some from the past, perhaps reflecting a transit system that has vanished into history, and some from thriving transport entities that continue to endure despite the constant pressures from the all-pervasive motorcar. Enjoy.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Kate McMahon, and she's a member of a religious society of Friends. The activities of the Friends more generally, as we're going through those activities are, what those activities are, there's a group called the Quaker Earth Care Committee. How does that and that John Woolman, that quotation that I mentioned at the end of the last session, goes to that. So that's back in 1720 that statement was made. Have the Quakers always been in that sort of environmental awareness as a group?
I'm not sure that they always have been, because our testimonies really have been the four testimonies: truth, peace, simplicity and equality. But of recent years we have become much more concerned about the earth and our care of it, probably maybe 20 years, and certainly accelerated now with global warming.
Yes.
So that in the last 10 years it's become quite a concern of us, and we have now really, I would say, adopted it as our fifth testimony of our social testimonies.
Yes.
So there is a great concern that we live as well as we can. It is, of course, attached to our simplicity testimony too.
Yes.
Not to be using more of the earth's resources than we need.
Mm-hmm.
But the great, the great concern, and we are now have appointed and employed an earth care worker, a New Zealand gentleman called Robert Howell, who's come to us, and he's working in Canberra.
Mm-hmm.
On earth care, and we've developed at our last yearly meeting in January a statement, which you probably have that with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. So that the earth care then sort of spills over a little bit, I suspect, into the whole First Peoples concept, because they are often used as the model for earth care, particularly Australian Aborigines. I think in America, I think I'm right, were the Quakers involved there in trying to keep peace with the American Indians? Did they have a role to play there?
I don't know my history well enough to tell you that. I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, you just have to take it as read that I'm telling you that, because that spins into Australia. From the outset, were the Quakers involved with the First Nation people here, like in Tasmania, for example? Were they involved with the Aborigines there, do you know?
I think they will. They have been, because their testimony to equality means that we accept that of God in everybody, irrespective of their colour, race, creed. But it's become quite a strong movement now for us to be connecting with our Indigenous people.
Yes, yes. The only reason I raised Tasmania is because the Friends were fairly strong and still are strong in Tasmania, aren't they?
Oh yes, it's a strong meeting in Tasmania. There is a Quaker school, a Friends school in Hobart, beautiful purpose-built meeting house.
Yes.
And it's a strong community. And Quaker Service Australia, which is the service arm of Quakers, which does a lot of work in not only in Indigenous things, but in the South Pacific too. They ran from Hobart for quite a long time. Quaker Service is now operating from Sydney, but it was operating from Hobart. And they had two arms. One was local, one was really Aboriginal, and one was international.
Yes, it's. And I don't want to ask you questions about what happened with the Aborigines in Tasmania, whether the Quakers were involved in that, because you may not know the answer.
I don't know the
but
answer.
I suggest they possibly might have been. But you mentioned that there's a group that meets, was it every Monday here, in relation to Aborigines? What was that about?
Yes, there's in 1998, the Victorian Quakers, Victoria Regional Meeting, decided to start a vigil. So it's a meeting for worship held on the steps of the old post office on the corner of Burke and Elizabeth, and it's held for an hour from 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock every Monday. Hail, rain or shine.
Yes, really.
They hold up a banner and they have seating, and there's 4 or 5 or 6, and people can sit down for some or part of that time. They hand out pamphlets to people. The purpose is to try to raise awareness to our community, to our Melburnian people, about the injustice. That's really the purpose of it.
So social justice is a major driver, clearly, for the Friends.
It is.
Yes,
it is.
Yes, and has been from the outset pretty much. And as I look at, this is actually from your website, but looking at public statements that you've made, there seems to climate change, there's extreme weather, refugees. Now, we've got refugees issues here in Australia. Where do the Friends feature in that? What do you do with that?
Oh, the Friends are very supportive of refugees. At our meeting house that we own in Toorak, we have had been housing refugees there for some 10 years. in consultation and cooperation with the Uniting Church arm that looks after refugees. So we've been doing that. We also have 1 or 2 members who are very active working with the refugee centre and having conversations with them. We do have a refugee couple in our meeting, in our local meeting in Toorak, a Burundian couple, delightful, with 4 children who are being educated now in Melbourne at universities, and we are supporting that family with their education. So we're very personal with our refugees.
Well, yes, and some of the issues, once again, another right up front issue at the moment is little children are sacred, is one of the public statements that you've made. So you've clearly got that concern about children. How does that look like? How's that presented?
Unfortunately, we don't have many children in our meeting, but there are other meetings where they are, and we are quite clear about who's allowed, how we deal with looking after the children.
Yes.
I'm responsible for interviewing people in our meeting, and we make sure people have their police checks and their interviews and their references.
And references and police checks take time, and we're out of it.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.
Imagine not seeing the world you live in. Macular disease is Australia's leading cause of blindness. Donate now to Macular Disease Foundation Australia. Call 1800 111 709 or visit mdfoundation.com.au.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
If you choose to drive when overtired,
you could ruin lives.
Someone else's, your family's, or your own.
Choose a power nap instead.
The right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony in Diversity, and we're speaking with Kate McMahon, and she's a Religious Society of Friends member. Kate, the Quakers have a whole series of what's referred to as testimonies. Could you explain and go into some of that detail?
Yeah, thank you. Testimonies, I guess, are the sort of framework of our life. Testimony comes really from a court saying, I guess, but it's the way we, the rules that we have. We don't actually use the word rules, but the sort of guidance that we have for our life. Probably the principal one from early days of the Quakers was truth. It can be called integrity, and it's really, really, really important that we speak truth. And you may have heard that when you go to court, you're asked to swear on the Bible. Quakers traditionally don't swear on the Bible because they believe that that's an insult. They are always speaking the truth. So they don't need to be taking the Bible, they will make a statement. And they also have a way of speaking truth to power. They believe in saying things as they are and taking the truth to the highest levels of government, which is what happens really and what's happening with some of our statements to government, etc. So, so the truth testimony is really important for us. It really is the foundation. And then, of course, it comes from our belief of that in God in everyone. Our testimony of equality. If we believe there's that of God in everyone, we must treat everyone with respect. We cannot be deciding because of somebody's race or colour or ethnicity or appearance that they are not worthy of the same respect and love and situation. So that is really important. We have accepted gay and lesbian people into our community. We have performed commitment ceremonies for those people in our faith, and we find it really interesting that we can be fairly non-judgmental about other religions. We're very able to cope with that. In fact, one of our advices and queries asks us not to be judgmental about other faiths, to think where that is coming from in their heart, and to, even if it's strange to us, to listen. So it's a powerful testimony, the equality testimony, because it challenges us all. It's often very difficult because you may not like somebody, you may find them difficult, but to have to be respectful is a challenge.
Okay, now those testimonies are fascinating. However, they require, you're clearly very familiar with them. If you don't have preaching and you don't have real doctrine, where have you reinforced that within yourself? How have you come to learn it?
We do. There are, well, probably the advices and queries which are read most weeks in our meeting are always raise those sessions. We do have Quaker faith and Quaker basics courses. We do run courses.
Okay.
We do run study groups for our people.
Yeah.
We do have discussion groups on once a month after our meeting for worship. We do have lots of day seminars. We do lots of, I suppose other people would call it, as a teacher you'd call it in service,
Yes.
But we do lots of education, but a lot of it's also through osmosis.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning how a Quaker meeting operates. A lot of it is quite strange for people who come initially. I mean, there are many good books. We have a very good library at Toorak, and people are able to borrow. There are very good books. Quaker by Convincement is a wonderful book to read if you're just wondering what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But our books of Quaker Faith and Practice, This We Can Say, are all inspirational writings of our own people.
And so where do we go to discuss that? Where would that
Where would you go to discuss it? Well, you could discuss it with anybody, because anybody in your meeting is regarded, we're all regarded as equal. We have elders, but they're not really very obvious or forceful. Everybody is regarded as equal, and we have lots of people in the meeting who have been elders. Because we only have appointments for 3 years, people have been elders. There's older members of the community who are very, what we call weighty friends, very knowledgeable, very spiritual. And you can discuss it with any of those. After meeting of a Sunday over a cup of tea, there's a lot of, after an hour's silence, there's a lot of talk goes on, often very spiritual talk. And you could discuss it. You could if you had a real difficulty, we have a ministry and oversight committees or a pastoral care committee where people with concerns can go.
Right.
There are lots of places where you can go for support. It's fairly informal though.
Mm. Yes, it is informal, but obviously very very supportive, because those principles that you outlined, they sit behind most religions that I'm aware of, and they are the source of huge amounts of tension and problems, because they counter human nature, much of it.
Yeah.
So,
probably something else that I should mention is that we have a way of holding friends in the light, or people in the light. It's a way of sharing together to hold someone who's in trouble, who's sick, or who's ill. And it is the most powerful experience. I was personally very ill at one stage many years ago, and I was held.
I'm going to have to, at this point, and it's terrible to do it. We're out of time.
Okay.
But I thank you so much, Kate, and I'd very much like to speak more about friends at some later time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been watching Harmony and Diversity, and next week we'll be back with another subject.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to order some pathology tests to see how everything's going.
Half the Australian population had a pathology test last year. That's you or someone you love. 100 tests are performed every minute, delivering vital medical information. From the moment you are born, your healthcare depends on pathology tests. 70% of medical decisions rely on information from pathology tests. Pathology is the engine room of healthcare. One small sample can reveal millions of insights all about you. Pathologists are your doctor's doctor. 25,000 people work to provide doctors with the answers they need to treat you. Australian pathology is world class. We may never meet you, but we see each of you as part of our family. Every minute, 23 Australians find out more about their health.
Good news, Sarah, the results show that everything's okay.
Pathology provides peace of mind.
I rely on Australian pathology.
Sign up online to support Australian pathology.
Joy, well-being, community, inclusion.
Special Olympics is a global movement for people with an intellectual disability, creating a world of inclusion and community through sport, where every person is accepted and welcomed, regardless of ability. One athlete, one volunteer, one family member at a time, helping to make the world a better place. Join the inclusion revolution by supporting Special Olympics.
And choose to include.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
The following program carries an MA classification and may contain adult themes and coarse language. MELfeed.video advises that it is suitable for viewers aged 15 plus.
want to write a poem that spits in your face, sounds like fingernails down a blackboard, that knows each of your secrets and who to tell them to. Instead, my poem wants to make you a cup of tea, asks if you take milk and sugar, and offers the last butternut snap. I want to write a poem that shows you all its scars, every scrape, scratch and bloody nose, that is proud to stand before you in all its nakedness. Instead, my poem sits up in the back row, nudges those around it, and giggles like a schoolboy at the word breasts. I want to write a poem that takes you on a journey into the mind's darkest turnings, weaves mystery into the known, truth into clarity, that jumps off buildings daring to see if it can fly. Instead, my poem worries about high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high anxiety, looks both ways before crossing the street, and is in bed by 10 each and every night. I want to write a poem that plays Russian roulette with life and drinks its bourbon straight, is proud to catch public transport and believes in nothing but itself. Instead, my poem has no head for heights. It gets car sick, air sick, seasick, is just sick, a true hypochondriac, afraid of the dark, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of revealing the truth.
I'll just read a few quick short ones that I wrote in class. I'm studying writing at Box Hill TAFE, so we went on an excursion to the cemetery and wrote a bit of haiku poetry, and this is one of them. Rusted vintage urns on cold stone platters, serving no one but rain. Okay, this is the one I wrote in Dorothy Parker style, which we had to do for literature class. It's called Don't Call Me Just. Death comes but once in a life, less often than being somebody's wife. Hope it comes sudden and forced like a knife, exactly like being somebody's wife. Okay, this is one I wrote in poetry class. We had to pick a proverb and write a poem around it. So it's called Will He Ever Die? A rolling stone gathers no blackberry, moss hardened by the rolling stones, churning beats that frighten a mother, monster voice matching monster mouth, on top of a cliff constrained but tipsy, a cloud his audience as he rolls to his back, voice still churning.
Wasp. There is a wasp on the train. It buzzes our carriage, causing people to swipe timidly and for the nunnery of schoolgirls to scream. The woman opposite me is eating an apple with her mouth open. Chewed remnants litter her chest as she masticates. The man beside her is sniffing, snorting and spluttering, wipes his nose on the back of his hand, and behind me I can hear the thump, thump, kill the motherfucker beat of someone else's music, and still they all complain about the wasp.
My dark room. I live in a dark room now, away from any possible exposure or stark light. I like to keep very still. The air is cool and clean, filtered of any corrosive dirt or foreign matter. The walls are soundproofed, so I can't hear the voice anymore that only last week made me crumple to the floor and start talking to the thick textured wallpaper where it joins the skirting board, and the hidden grime and dog hair mat together and roll along the hall like tumbleweeds in a ghost town from a cheap spaghetti western. My memories are catalogued now, according to various events and milestones and the sentimental musings of a mother. They are captured on film and housed in tightly sealed canisters, stacked neatly in perfect chronological order on solid steel shelves. There's no need to produce any more. Reels of colour, a heartwarming story of love and faith, safe for now.
Mother's Day. Every Mother's Day for 26 years, he has placed 4 roses on her grave, one for each child. I place a bouquet of homegrown flowers beside his roses and try to remember her. There are snippets, more photographs than real life. I remember the way she pronounced certain words, stumbled over our names when angry, stuttered when upset. I remember the red lipstick she favoured, her perfume, love of black jelly beans, never learning to drive. He remembers her laugh, how she loved to dance, her stubbornness and lusting for Johnny Cash. Every Mother's Day for 26 years, he has placed roses, I place a bouquet, and both of us try to remember the sound of her voice.
And I actually put this on the internet, and I got a response from a lady who said, "I know exactly what you're talking about." And I thought, you can't hide anything, can you? Okay, here it goes. He loved her once, a covenant was his choice. She loved him at first sight, a glance was she unmade. The ruby woman he designed came one night to his delight. A man of gold she was promised, and to the mark he did aspire. There was fire, and he warmed and danced her through China. White lilies were her attire. When winter came, he would retire. Like a lion he did endure, twice he dipped her feet in sleep. Like a mare, her neigh was sweet, twice loved, but one fate for sure. And the sequel is: the lion disappeared in history. It was the mare who foretold the mystery. A dragon, a cat, and a dog as litter. The chain was strong, ne'er bitter. The dragon's fire always went out when the dog's bark was not a shout. The cat's feminine walk gave content. Every one stopped at her meow it lent. What a whisper there began to be as the flock's master delivered the decree. The lips of the shepherd did rebuke, turning the man into a duke. The queen waited, gave pardon, serving only the best in her garden. When the night came, it was time to sleep. Lamb and lion lay, and the forest was deep. Thank you.
This is called If It Quacks Like a Duck. They were arguing again, a perennial argument based on the fact she insists he was flirting. He insists he was merely being sociable, that he can't help the warmth of tall, leggy blondes. This argument, or rather, not this one specifically, but one so similar, the basic genetic structure has saturated the relationship, has been ongoing for 20 minutes or so when she puts her hands in the air and says, "You know the old adage, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, chances are it's a duck." Or, says he, it could be a duck impersonator. This is the heart of their relationship. She sees the world in large slabs of black and white, solid, impregnable. He sees everything in infinite shades of grey. So while she will insist he was flirting with the girl from the deli, bakery, train, restaurant, he will see an impersonation of a duck.
I had the boys over for a barbecue the day before our final. Anyway, Steve rocks up, no beer, antibodies model girlfriend. He was showing off, going on about how we kicked the winning goal in the semis, you know. I must have gotten a bit distracted and I put his steak on the same plate the raw meat had been on. Anyway, we lost the final. Steve had to go off sick during the game. I mean, it's not my fault. I mean, who brings their girlfriend to a bloke's barbie anyway?
Behind your favourite team, there's another team. At all levels, in all codes, sports trainers are working to make sport safer. Sports trainers learn injury prevention techniques from doctors and other health professionals so they can provide the right first aid when the going gets tough.
If your team could do with a sports trainer, maybe it's time you got a little closer to the action.
Find out how you can become a sports trainer. Sports Medicine Australia, providing the team behind the team.
For over 80 years, the Royal Flying Doctor Service has been providing a mantle of safety across our vast land. Last year alone, they attended to more than 250,000 patients and flew over 23 million kilometres. That's the equivalent of flying to the moon and back every fortnight. Whether it's an emergency rescue, delivery of urgent medical supplies, or an air ambulance transfer to a major city hospital, the Flying Doctor is always out there for everyone. Let's keep it that way. Donations to the Royal Flying Doctor Service can be made online, by cheque or by calling the number on your screen now. All donations over $2 are tax deductible. So please give generously and help keep the doctor flying.
this actually happened. I used to travel the train a lot. Interesting what you see travelling the trains. And this young fella just started to cry, and everyone just totally ignored him. It was just like, oh my God, we just don't want to know, don't want to know, don't want to know. And I sort of put myself in that place, so it's called kind of hurt. You're on the train and it's cold. Want to be enveloped in fur, even though you don't believe in the exploitation of animals, no matter how warm and furry, kind of cold. And the tradies have their hoods up, sleep to the rhythm of the rails. Businessmen bury themselves in the paper, sports steep, and women are as sharp as their lipstick when someone begins to cry. Not a small, sad cry, but a deep, harsh, stomach-aching need to curl up and die. Oh God, someone please stop the pain now, kind of sound that everyone pretends not to notice. It's only when you get out at your station that you look to see who had felt such a hurt and find they are all looking at you with understanding.
It gives me a real bad pain in the liver, the publicity they give the man from Snowy River. And the thing about which I'd like to speak is what I call the colt from Icy Creek. And when that young colt did away make for what for him would have been a short holiday break, his owner thought it was wrong, and he called out for them riders strong to comb that mountainside until nowhere could that colt hide. But after hours and hours of riding around through the bush, themselves off the side of that mountain they couldn't push. The courage for it they did all lack, except one bloke, supposedly from up the snowy track. Him and his horse went down that perpendicular slope to reach the bottom in safety. They thought he had no hope. Yes, that very thought entered everyone else's head, that the horse and rider would both wind up dead. But through the trees and around the boulders thick, the path his horse did always pick. And when they get down to level ground, themselves amongst them brumbies they had found, and over them the rider had towered, and with the whip he soon had him cowed, because he did quite vigorously crack, so he was able to turn them back. And when he joined up with the rest of the mob, they all said that he, the rider, had done a wonderful job. But they had all forgotten, of course, that the hard and dangerous work was done by the horse, and the rider should not have got any of the fame. Etched into history should have been the horse's name.
This is for my son. It's called Linguistics, and it's for Matt. I've raised him from his first word of dad, quickly followed by no and I want. But now he speaks a foreign language I have yet to comprehend. Talks of digital input, graphics processor, peripheral connections, horizontal frequency, and the mini DVI to VGA adapter he needs. I nod sagely, stumble over the phrase standard analogue, and he smiles encouragingly, just as I did at his first step into linguistics.
Dear Lucinda, I loved you so. White wedding dress, sunken eyebrows, from Corinthians to Corinthians. An old priest yelled out, oh boy, she did love the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Oh, Memorabilia, soft toys, witches' breeches, raspberry lemonade. The graveyard is full now. The priests are coming. My dear Lucinda has gone to paradise. Oh, my dear Lucinda. Amen.
Call me when you want to cry over that bastard, to rant and rave, vent and scream, to slowly pull flesh from his character, break each of his bones and listen to them snap. Call me when you want to moan over the brownies that committed themselves to your thighs, when you devoured chocolate mud cake as though it were a lifeline to God. Call me when life stretches before you, razor sharp and brittle as glass, and you no longer can walk or dare breathe alone. Don't call me when you're happy. It leaves a bitter taste in my mouth.
I went down to Scumbag City to see a friend of mine. I knew that he could show me a real good time. Drugs and porn were everywhere, and so was petty crime, yet still I went there, time after time. I should be stuck in concrete in a bucket of lime. In Scumbag City there's a mall, and in that mall you'll see them all. Liars, perverts, junkies, cheats, fat wog bouncers with fat feet, coppers on their manic beat, whores and drag queens prowl the street, looking for sweetmeats to eat. Here's Scumbag City's hard to beat. The boys in nearby nut farm stick ice in their arm. I came by with my sort of charm. I meant no body harm. I too like to fill my arm with ice in Scumbag's nut farm. In this Garden of Gethsemane, several children were sent to me. I let them down. I'm a clown. I get this moralistic frown, so of course I let them down. One of these was regimental, funny, strange, sentimental. He's elemental, existential, ornamental, but he's got potential, and he would be gentle, but he's temperamental. There as well was bubblicious, sweetly vicious, avaricious, surreptitiously malicious. I gave that Klingon witch me car. She didn't drive it very fast, straight round to a clown on the other side of town. That induced a momentary frown. Poor old Reg was apoplectic. He hoped I'd be apologetic. He thought that bubblicious stooged me. He thought perhaps this snatch confused me. He knew she used and abused me, but he never once accused me. He thought in thoughts superstitious. What powers has this bubblicious? She won't comply with anyone's wishes. He positively won't do dishes. Who'd want her for a missus? She lay on the floor like a marauding whore. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get her out the door. Quick, take the car. Don't come back. I know I'll have to cop some flack, but anything's better than this. You sure know how to take the piss. I don't want you here or anywhere near. When you're gone, I'll cheer, so disappear. And then she came back visiting one night, and crikey, she brought with her a couple of bikies. You can imagine how I felt. It's been a long time since I got me black belt. What cruel hand has fate now dealt? When I first met her, nothing would melt in the mouth of sweetly vicious, avaricious, surreptitiously malicious, potentially pernicious, bubblicious. But come in, my dear. What's the occasion? Am I to be the victim of a home invasion? Lucky I've still got me nunchucks. I'll smash those fucks. I'll run amok if they try their luck. And in reserve was lesbian Sharon, L1. No, F1, Formula McLaren. That's how she'd go, toe-to-toe when taking care of Yoda, bro. But come, my pretty little suckerfish, my darling little malicious dish, attach yourself to my neck. I'm not fucked yet. I gave you the mobile discotheque. I may look a wreck, but I'm not fucked yet. And on another night of sweet and savage intoxication, with senses reeling and pulses racing, I was led to the door by Aurelia the whore, who humbly, timidly begged me for more. Come again, please, sir. Come again to my door. I will, my dear, I fervently swore. She was there on the night of my arrest. And as I led me handcuffed from that place, the stricken look upon her face is what I'll remember best. It stirred emotions in my breast. And a look in the face of my good friend Reg moved me to renew my former pledge. I lay on the floor in that watch house cell. I love my friends, and I loved them well. And I love them even if I have to live in hell.
We always liked to play chess together ever since we were little. He was always a better player than me. When I was diagnosed with Pompei's disease in 2002, I was told that my life expectancy was going to be poor, and my condition deteriorated rapidly before I was able to start treatment. My brother and I both suffered from the disease. But now I consider myself the fortunate one. My brother spent the last 2 years of his life in hospital. He didn't have access to this wonderful treatment that should be available to everybody. The world just keeps getting smaller as you progressively lose the ability to walk. So your world shrinks, and then gradually you realise, I haven't been to the supermarket in 6 months. I'm 59 now, and every year I can see my daughter grow up is a blessing. I believe my treatment's made this possible.
To learn more and help those living with Pompei's disease, register at australianpompey.com.
If you were living on the streets, wouldn't you want more than just your best friend to keep you safe and warm? Donate to Backpack Bed for Homeless and give warm, waterproof protection and dignity tonight. Call 1300 OzHelp.
Sport is for everyone.
No matter who you are or where you're from,
there's no place for discrimination in sport.
And everyone should feel welcome, safe,
respected and get a fair go.
Whether you're a player, a spectator, a coach or an official.
What do you want from your sport?
Are you ready to make a difference? Sport is for everyone.
And everyone starts with you.
Keep your sport inclusive,
safe, fair and fun.
For more information, go to playbytherules.net.au.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Shadow of the Noose. And this was actually Nathan Curnow, the poet, did the Ghost Poetry project. He went to all these different haunted house places throughout Australia, actually, and wrote this great poetry collection. And he actually had the launch for it at the old Melbourne jail, late at night, dark, really moody and moving. And I wrote this, Shadow of the Noose. I'm standing amongst poets and writers, waiting for ghosts in old Melbourne jail. As the chill seeps through the stone walls, snakes up my legs and settles, gnawing at the small of my back. I listen as the poet conjures spectral hauntings, and I have to turn away from the death masks of those hung years before. I see them and they are you, their eyes shut, mouth slightly open, slack-jawed, just as you were in another chilled room. The poet's words pull me to the now, to the bite of a winter's night. I listen as he describes bodies hanging like ripe fruit. I picture you swaying, the tree groaning, becoming your tongue. I shake the image loose as the poet thanks his family for their support, their love. He laughs, notices his children sitting beneath the gallows. I can't help but look up into the shadows above us where the rope hangs thick. I understand that this is the theatrics of history, trying to make us, the everyman, cringe in what we have done. But your image keeps returning, and I do cringe at what you have done. You too, leaving children in the shadow of the noose.
I've been playing with some sonnets lately, not in a Shakespearean or Spenserian, but more of a sort of Nerudian fashion, I guess. So this one's called Love Sonnet. Yes, exactly. Love Sonnet in memory of honeyed lips. Languid embraces have awoken me to love, where phoenix hovers and chimera resists flux, an impossibility somewhere between laughter and desire, between thought and hope, between bud and flower. Button-sized monkeys in ragdoll array, sunbeams dripping from rose-scented hair, binary stars wrapped in silk. These are my liquid dreams of you. Orpheus clears his throat in articulation. As your body becomes my new country, your scent my native air. Icarus in flight, in freefall, shoots a glance. But I'm drunk with your elixir and live beyond knowledge.
I work in a library, so I get a lot of customers like this. I'm praying none of you are, and if you are, you don't come to my library. It's called The Bird Behind the Desk. I'm at the library because I'm after this book, and the bird behind the desk is looking at me like I don't know nothing. I want that book. You know the book about the guy that writes all the detective stories, and there was even a movie on the telly the other night with the guy from Law and Order in it, the really hot one? But the bird behind the desk is looking at me like I'm not there. I can tell she's read all the books in the library and then some. I'd ask Ginny the name of the book, but she's gone to the dictionary so she can look up words like penis and vagina and dick. But then Ginny's only 11, nearly 12, and you do dumb stuff at 11, nearly 12. Even when I tell the bird behind the desk that the book's cover is blue, or maybe grey, dark grey, with a picture of a hand and a gun on it, she makes this groaning noise, but I know she can't be groaning because I'm trying to help. She tells me she can't help unless she knows an exact title or author, and she's throwing words like Ludlam, Patterson, Le Carre and McBain at me, as if they mean anything. So I ask her if she's got the movie. What movie, she asks? The movie that was made out of the book, you know, the one that was on the telly the other night with the guy from Law and Order, the really hot one in it. And the bird behind the desk makes this choking noise, says she's not much for watching movies, I could tell you she's the type that would read every book in the library and then some, just not the one I want.
This poem was inspired by the Beatitudes, and I'll read the Beatitudes first. So in case you don't know, but most people who've been raised in our society would have at least heard vaguely of them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be fulfilled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Words are not enough. You need poetry, the image in the soul that reaches out and grabs you where you live. Words are not enough. You need music, intertwined in the eternal, penetrating your very being with the infectious melody of life. Words are not enough. You need art, the very fabric and tapestry of existence, the extra dimension of the divine. Reason is not enough. You need mercy, an uncontrollable forgiveness that jumps out at you from between the words, that jumps out at you from within the music, that jumps out of you from behind the image and buries itself in your soul and makes you want to reach out from behind the barriers of existence and touch someone else with the poetry of life.
One in 5 of us are affected.
10% of us will have at least one.
And the numbers double for Indigenous Australians.
Just as quick as a click of your fingers, it can happen to anyone at any time.
What would you do if someone close to you was having a seizure?
Imagine if it was your child.
My brother has it. My sister has it.
I have it.
I have it too.
You're not alone.
You're not different. And you have a bright future ahead of you.
So click for kids!
I'm Amy Lee, and I'm part of it.
You teach us strangers are dangerous. But someone we know is a much more likely threat. You teach us strangers are dangerous. But who will help when you're not around? Create a world without unnecessary fear. Prepare, don't scare.
This bank is helping to save lives. Every year, 500,000 Victorians have no idea where their next meal is coming from. Food Bank Victoria works with farmers, supermarkets and manufacturers to make sure their surplus stock ends up here to be distributed to those in need. But all of this is not enough. Right now, this bank needs interest, your interest, to support Victorians in need. If you can help, visit foodbankvictoria.org.au.
For interesting and informative interviews, join us for NAT Chat Monday nights at 8. Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
There's only one way to travel to Miami, and that's on a boat. This is the place where all the yachts are. You're watching 15 fabulous minutes in Miami. Deco shops are. And we're going to take a look because there's just cafe after cafe right on the beachfront. Very cool, very sexy. Nightlife is pretty grand, and this is where you get to see all the Art Deco district here in South Beach. Well, just a short stroll down Ocean Drive and it's the famous house of Gianni Versace, of course, murdered on the steps. Now a great tourist site because everybody wants to stand on those steps and get photos taken. The bloody steps of the Versace house, just one of the things down here in South Beach. And we're going to go head down the street.
Well, true, but true, then one will
Ocean Drive. It's great during the day but the sun is hot, but at night when it comes alive, the neon's on and the party's going off. Get in early because on the weekends this place is packed. Free drinks all night long?
How are you? I'm Mike. This is Mike and Margarita's party. We invite everybody to drink free all night, unlimited. Rum, vodka, gin, tequila, whiskey, scotch, soda, water, juice until closing. All weekend. If with this advertisement, ladies pay only 10, gentlemen pay only 20. That's the cost of two drinks for the guys. All the nightclubs cost 20 bucks to get in, and you got to buy $10 drinks. I'm the best value for 5 years in a row.
So what's your music? What are you playing?
Well, we have a live salsa band in the front, and we have a DJ in the back playing salsa, merengue, house, hip-hop, and reggae mix.
So what is it with the salsa music in Miami? It's just the thing, isn't it, really?
Well, you have so many people that are here from the islands. It's a big Spanish town, so you have to have Latin music.
And you have to speak Spanish here in Miami because it's almost the first language, not actually the second language.
You don't have to, but it does help.
It does help. Sí, comprende. ¿Española?
Sí, yo hablo español. ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah, sure. Where do we go? Free drinks.
Free drinks all night, everybody.
It just goes on and on. The music's really good. What brings you here tonight?
We are here on vacation.
Yeah, from?
We are from Munich, Germany, and we made a Florida tour.
So what made you come to Miami?
We have been at Key West, and you know it's a crazy week in Key West.
Yeah,
so we saw, yes, and we saw a lot of crazy people in Key West.
I think they're the homeless, actually. A lot of crazy people on this street. So what are you drinking here? I noticed you got look at this drink here. This is massive. What is this one?
That's Blanca's Punch.
And are you getting quite plastered?
Not yet, but maybe if we have another one.
It's free all night long, isn't it? It's free.
Our deal is a separate deal. We make it independently.
Oh, okay. Independent. I'll take that one with me. One way to get a drink here, and you basically got to just jump over the bar. What a man has to do to get a drink. Now, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. And you're the key drink mixer, are you?
Oh, yes, I am.
So what is your favourite drink here?
My favourite drink? Probably Miami Vice.
So is that one of your greatest specials? You're going to make it for us? Show us a drink and we're going to go through the steps of making one mean cocktail. How about that?
How about a margarita?
You want margarita?
What do you like to drink? I'll make you a drink.
I don't know. To surprise me. Take me through the steps. Anything that's going to get me totally blottoed. Okay, what do we need?
We need a cup.
A cup.
We need ice.
We need ice. And we need to dance too, don't we? Why are we going here?
Where are you guys from?
Australia. Where are you from?
New Jersey.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
Stuff the drink. No, okay. Now, what do you got here? You got tequila. You got two. A what?
Tequila and triple sec.
Okay. I love the hand motion. Yeah, we're ready.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, dear. Now, you're not very light on the alcohol here.
Miami.
It's Miami. Yeah, I noticed you have that much alcohol and about that much spirit. Bit of lime on the top. I wanted something in a fancy glass, but this is cool. Now I'm going to try this. I need a straw. Just a small straw.
Presentation.
Presentation is everything. Here we go. We'll try this one. And voila. Hang on.
Wow. I think I need a bib. I'm going to need one after that. Woo! But what do you put in these glasses? What kind of drinks to go in that?
Same thing.
Same thing. Oh, lovely. I'm going to take one. Let's do that. Yeah. Just topping it up. Serviette. Big long straw. Now, how many of those would it take to get drunk?
The way I make them, probably one, maybe two.
Well, let's see how we go all night long. Another club, another drink. This is really good. It's a good way to get really drunk here, and I think it is a great way to have some serious fun. We're in the Cleveland Hotel. Oh, we've got the police here. The serious boy. We have to, what? Sorry?
Can't come in with the liquor.
Oh, well, help me drink it.
No, it's okay.
Come on. You can down that, can't you?
No, you have to.
Oh, I have to. Hang on a minute. God, I'll just get another one. Now, this place, what's so cool about this place?
Excuse me?
What's so cool about this place?
It's like open bar. It's not closed, you know? It's like, it's open atmosphere. You can smoke, and, you know, when you go to a club, the smoke gets on your clothes and all.
Yeah, don't
live
like that
band.
in your hair. Yeah. So what's the band tonight?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah? They're not playing at the moment, though.
They're taking a break.
They're taking a break. Well, we'll have a look anyway and mingle through the crowd. Well, they've got a pool here. This looks happening. What brings you here?
The crowd. I don't know. I'm from Indiana, so I don't know.
You're from Indiana? Oh, of course, everybody here is from somewhere else, yeah? No, you're a local.
Here.
You work in this venue, or?
Well, no, not for the restaurant. I'm a captain down here in Miami, yeah.
A captain on the marina?
Yes.
Now, that's the way to come here, isn't it? On a boat, in style. Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay.
Have you drinking lots of alcohol?
Not too much.
Why not?
I just got here.
You just got here. What about yourself? What are you drinking?
Oh, this is a cranberry with vodka.
Cranberry and vodka. And yourself?
Tanqueray and tonic.
Sangria and tonic. It seems to be the thing to drink here, isn't it? Now, it's the 31st coming up, Halloween, big thing, and there's also the Mardi Gras coming up on the weekend.
Yeah.
Now, what do women do on the Mardi Gras?
They show their tits.
How about, come on.
Did I get a drink?
Yeah, I'll get you a drink.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to see tits?
Yeah, ready?
Should I just undo my bra? And
You can do whatever you want to do. This is Miami, the land of the living.
Land of the living.
And you got to be drunk to do this. And
No.
No. This is a very American thing. Go on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That was easy. Here's a drink.
Keep us.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I gotta get one myself yet. This could only be happening in Miami. The boys on one side. What are you doing? What are you checking out over here?
We're looking for big tits.
Big tits. I just saw a pair. You missed out. Yeah, this girl over here, she just showed me hers. So you have a talk to her. Now, I had a girl over there, actually, and she just flashed her tits because it's Mardi Gras season. Are you going to do that for us as well?
No, I flash my fanny.
No, we don't need... Now, the Mardi Gras thing is everybody just goes... Happy Mardi Gras! See, those guys over there wanted to see some breasts, so, you know...
You can have some.
No, it's okay. I'll have a coconut drink.
They're breastfeeding boobs.
You're gone, aren't you? You're smitten by that.
No.
No?
Never.
Have you got anything to show the Australian people?
What about it?
You got anything to show the Australian people?
I don't know.
Sure you have.
Anything you want to? Come on.
He'll show you.
He'll show you. What do you want to show?
Oh, my muscles.
Your muscles. Oh, look at that. Nice and tan. So you're down in Miami, you can get some real meat, yeah? Yeah? The streets are full here, and I suggest that you get in here early on the weekends. You can't fit anybody in here on 15 fabulous minutes. People are cruising up and down the street. We're going to head into one of the coolest little venues here. You're going off tonight, aren't you? You are. Having a lot of fun?
Yeah,
Yeah? What brings you to Miami?
I live here.
You live here. What's it like to live here?
It's great.
It's great. Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't want to live anywhere else?
You're the owner of the Parisian?
No, if I was the owner, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Oh, okay. I'm feel privileged.
I'd be home counting my money like the owner.
Yeah. So what do you do in Miami then?
I'm working here.
Yeah.
But I did stand-up comedy here when it was all old Jewish people like me. Now I'm an old Jew. Back then I was a young Jewish guy.
Well, how much has Miami changed?
Turn off the motor. I'm on an interview here, will you? Thank you very
That's
much.
right. Then thank you.
What was the question?
So how different has Miami changed over the years? Hi, Mum.
Oh, a lot. Used to be hookers and drug dealers. It was my kind of town. They ruined it.
So what happened? I mean, yeah, I expect to come here and expect all the drug lords.
What
and all
happened
that. It's cleaned
was
up.
that they allowed the crime to exist to get the old people out, chase them away, and then they got rid of the crime.
So this used
That's
to
my
be
theory.
This used to be a retirement sort of town, didn't it?
All retired. I went to a gay 90s party. Everyone was gaying in their 90s.
Goodness me. So that's all gone now.
Yeah.
That's all gone.
Yeah.
So what's the good thing about Miami now? Why would people want to come to Miami?
The weather in the winter. Otherwise, this is my father used to call the land of the lost. I'm not putting down Miami Beach, but it's strange.
It is strange.
Because the sun burns the brain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Joyce Brothers said that we have openings in our head, and the sun goes in here and burns the brain. And anywhere, Southern California and here, a lot of crazy people.
There's great crazy people down here.
Not like me, I'm normal.
Yeah, you're so
That's
normal.
right. They know Jerry Lewis in Australia. Hello, lady.
Well, who else do you do?
I know,
You just know Jerry Lewis. Go and do it. Give a spiel. Give us a spiel.
Smile though your heart is aching. The camera girl is talking while I'm singing.
No, she's not. She's getting picked up. Go on.
What's the use of crying? The sun will come shining through for you.
Fantastic.
Ooh.
The hospital's that way.
I do George Burns too. Excuse me.
Okay, George Burns.
Hi, this is George Burns. I used to have a job as a doorman in a sperm bank. My job was to thank the men for coming. That's it.
That's it. Boom, boom. There you go. This is only in Miami. Oh, gosh. I think I've had one too many drinks and been at one too many clubs. We're going to take a look at Miami down South Beach during the day and see some of the architecture while I head further down into some other bars. So where are you from?
Michigan.
Michigan. And what brings you to Miami?
The Mardi Gras.
The Mardi Gras. Tell us about the Mardi Gras and the South...
I don't know about it. Key West, right. I don't know about it. It's my first time.
Summer break, and it's going to be Halloween weekend, yeah? So what are you going to wear?
I don't know yet. You been there before?
No, we actually missed out on that. We won't actually see it on tonight's show.
Nice. They get naked down there?
They get naked everywhere, and they get jiggy with it too, don't they?
They don't get jiggy. I ain't seen... Oh, wait a minute now. Let me get that on film now. Oh, damn.
So is this your first time to Miami?
Second.
Second time. So what is it about Miami you love?
It's crazy. It's mad.
It's mad. There's plenty of crazy people around here.
She just done. You would never do that in Michigan, but she just did. Would never.
So what are your favorite little hot spots here in Miami?
I don't know. I'm with this guy. He's over there on the phone. He's bold to know all of them. We're going to Jazzy's. You never know what that's at?
Yeah.
You ever been there before?
No, we've actually been to Mambo. We're going to check out the Mambo and see what's happening there because there's really a lot of salsa music. And I notice everybody here, Mangoes. Now, we're going to go Mangoes.
Where's that at?
Mangoes is actually on Ocean Drive. It's really happening. It's got a lot of Latin music and a little fun and going on.
Wild and freaky down there?
They get wild down there. I think they get pretty freaky everywhere here in South Beach.
That's what we want. We want to get wild and freaky.
So music is loud and furious. The queue's out here already. Food is brilliant. Yada, Caesar salad, big servings too.
Okay, we've got the big boys here. Now, mangoes. What's so famous about mangoes?
What's so famous about mangoes? Haven't you heard about it?
I have heard about this place from far away.
We got live bands, you know, music, dancing girls all night. It's one of the best clubs on the beach.
It is one of the best. I mean, just look at this queue. The queue behind me is just some days on the weekends it goes around the corner. So, do you know how to salsa yourself or what?
Do I know how to dance it?
Yeah.
I'm learning. I recently moved down from Connecticut, and I'm learning.
So what brings you here then, to Miami?
Everyone wants to live in Miami.
Everybody wants to live in Miami. So can we go in and we're going to film the venue? We're going in and I don't expect to get any sleep at all here because it just goes on and on and on. Now, the little sexy waitresses are hot to trot. I mean, look at this little outfit here. This is very sexy.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
can you do a little dance for us?
Not at the moment. I'm a
No, real busy. No worries. We'll go into the thickness of it all.
A la izquierda, a la derecha,
Now they've got this platform here and the guys are actually going to get up and dance. So we'll just take a look at what's happening in this club, Mangoes. Extremely loud, extremely busy. Now you've got the best seat here. No, English, just Espanol. I think everybody in here speaks Spanish. Like I did say, it was the first provided languages here. And you've got the best seat here, haven't you? No, don't want to speak? I think actually you've got the best seat.
Excuse me?
You've got the best seat here.
I don't understand your question, I'm sorry.
You're sitting in the best seat.
Oh yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So how long
You're
have
watching
you...
the beauty here, huh?
Yeah. How long have you been here tonight?
Like an hour and a half.
And what time do you think you'll go home?
I don't know, maybe like in an hour or so.
Really? So early?
So early. We're gonna someplace else after here.
Oh yes, of course, bar hopping, and that's what we've been doing.
All right.
And you're not drunk yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, we'll get there. Right. Busy night here. Food, yum, yum, club, and I think I need food to fill up on all this alcohol. Look at the array you've got here. What is the special of the day?
Okay, all the special are just right here. We have Florida lobsters with crab head stuffed with crab meat. T-bone steak is 20 ounces meat.
Look at the size of that one.
Yeah, Maine lobsters. Stone crab, the season just started 1 week ago. Surf hunter with sirloin steak. We can do also with filet mignon. We have Florida lobster also, stuffed with crab meat. Sea bass with mussel is a Chilean fish.
Yum, yum.
And the famous paella, because we have a lot of Latin customers.
It's very big, isn't it? The Latin sort of salsery and all that kind of food, yeah?
Correct, yes.
And where are you from yourself? I notice an accent.
Yeah, France.
From France. Well, there you go. Someone who's a Latino. Now, how am I going to eat all this? This is huge.
And
the servings are so big. Oh, well, we'll take the champagne. And we'll go to our next venue, perhaps. So what do you do in Miami?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Work and play.
Work and play. I think you're playing a lot tonight.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
too much.
Too much?
Too much.
You've been a bad girl?
No.
No? That's good. Well, enjoy your night. Where's a good place to go?
Right here.
Right here, right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hang out here all the time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now. Okay, well, enjoy yourself. Somewhere in the middle of this restauranty street is a squeezed shop of fashion in here. We're going to check out what the latest is going on here in Miami. And I think it's pretty chic and pretty sleek. Oh, some of the women's fashion. And I've noticed actually a lot of people wearing this one. I think it's about, oh my God, that is heavy. It's around $600 Australian. It's quite wealthy.
And everything is wear less, because sometimes, you know, less is more. Something for the evening, perhaps, for those ladies out there. And that's, oh, it's only $1,000, that's all. It's not too badly priced. Well, I got a bit bored of Ocean Drive, too much drinking and too much partying, so I'm on Washington Avenue, and this is where all the clubs are. We're outside the Cameo Theatre. This place is happening. Now, you are happening. Look at this. I met Tinfoil Man here.
Yes.
What is your ensemble meaning tonight?
I need to be in contact with Madonna, and no, serious. I'm looking for new trends and looking for new DJs, but I'm not here in this club.
No.
I'm in the other club, the 320. It's the old room of Ingrid Cesaro. Cesaro is the bisexual friend of Madonna. She sold it, and now they renovated. It's over the air on the Lincoln
we'll
Road.
go to that one.
320.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, I'm noticing a bit of an accent here. Where are you from?
Miami, no, from Holland, from Holland.
And I thought that, you know, I did say people in Miami are weird, but no, Holland, the Dutch just proved that wrong. You're walking around like this,
Yes.
you feel safe?
Yes.
Do you think Miami's a safe place?
Yes, always.
Always. Because we've got big
Miami
security
South
guys like this
Beach.
behind.
Miami South
Beach is safe.
Because they like the tourists and the tourist dollars.
Yeah? Oh, well, we're going to check out some other clubs. Come with me for a moment. We'll just move through here. This is... Do you actually have to frisk us before entering the club, or you don't speak? You're a mime act. You do mime. You can frisk without talking. You're very serious, aren't you? I can't talk. I'll polish the badge. Get in trouble. Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see everybody? Turn the corner an hour on Lincoln for a new opening of a great club. We're going to check this one out and see what's happening. Full of glamorous models, such as myself, of course. And exclusive, hard to get in. We'll see if we can get in. May let us in. We'll make this club. Oh, here we go. Straight through. Oh, that's service for you. Did you notice everybody's handsome? So let's go in and check out what's going on in the Miami club. It's a new club here in Miami. It's all happening, as you can see. Everybody's dancing, and it's an opening of the ocean launch as well. So everybody's having a really good time, and I think this is where I'm going to leave it. And I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show on Miami.
When I was younger, my dad just took me to a rink because he had done speed skating through his life. I then started to get more involved in skating. When you start skating, you go to just leagues and you start as a recreational skater, and then you build up to the state championships, national championships, and then the stepping stone for Worlds is here at Oceanas. So hopefully next year we have more skaters going to Worlds. I just love the feeling when you're just at your top speed and skating along with your friends, because you get some really good friends over the years that you skate, and everyone knows each other. It's just a good skating community to be in.
Went to a skating rink just up the road from my house, back in Adelaide. Went there for a session, got hooked on the thing when we went there and kept going out, and they asked us to come to a training session one night. Went there and been doing it ever since. You get in parking lots and you train through winter even when it's cold, but you're doing it because you're loving the sport, you know, and at the end of the day it comes down to when you're racing and you're around the mates that you race with, that's where you want to be, you know.
I got into speed skating as a bit of cross training because I used to do a lot of professional half pipe. So I used to do a lot of tricks and so forth. So I got into speed as a bit of a cross train for that, because the physical demands, you need to be very fit and very strong to be able to speed skate. So it was a good crossover. I guess the cool thing for me was moving away from a subjective environment and just worrying about here's the start, here's the finish, and try and get there as fast as possible. And it was a bit of a refreshing environment for me. Everything sort of starts to slow down a little bit, and you're just waiting for that whistle or that gun to go off, and it's you feel like a curled spring ready to be unleashed.
You got to beat the other guy, you know, you're always trying to push to get harder and harder. Next one is you're trying to, get away from the pain in your legs and the rest of your body you're going through, especially after a long race. And then after that, it's you're just down to just pushing yourself to get to that line, and win the race.
Flow, the speed is really addictive, and once that starts to sort of come together, then it's like, oh wow, I want to do more of this, and it becomes really, really enjoyable. I guess the way I describe it to my buds is, yeah, I get to ride on really cool looking skates that have carbon fibre in them. As soon as you say carbon fibre, everyone starts to look.
The amount of training and diet and just general dedication separates like first place to fourth place. That's how close it is. So you have to be really dedicated to be the best. When you get your name called out on the Australian team, it's really good to hear, and it shows like all your hard work has paid off. In the future, I want to be in Europe skating on like the season called the World Inline Cup and just be the #1 world champion, because I've worked really hard over the years. World champion is my dream goal, and I really want to reach that.
It's just fun. You get out there, you get to go fast, do something different that no one else gets to do, and then you get older, you get better, you go overseas, you get to see the world, you travel and keep doing your sport, it's something you love doing.
Get active, get social, get on a roll. For more info, visit skateaustralia.org.au.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
They say there's a chance I could die in a car crash, maybe even from heart disease, maybe even skin cancer.
I could die in a work-related accident, or I could die in a fight.
The fact is, the biggest cause of death for men in my age group is suicide.
Please don't let this happen to me.
You can do something. Lifeline believes that suicide is mostly preventable. Help us save lives. Find out what you can do at lifeline.org.au.
MELfeed Video is about to close operations for tonight, but we'll be back with you next Monday evening. In the meantime, here is a selection of programs that will be seen on our next scheduled web stream. You're welcome to visit our website at MELfeed.video for further details of this project. Until next time, from all of us here at MELfeed Video, we wish you a very good night.